How's it going, YouTube? My name is LBNinja7, your resident Mistweaver monk, and guys, it just keeps getting more and more exciting being a Mistweaver main. So as you see on screen, with each week comes a new PTR build, comes new buffs, it seems, to Mistweaver monk. We have more buffs, and they have stronger implications than you might just be reading. I'm sure you've seen some of the other YouTubers kind of talking about these already because I think they were released earlier today, but we're going to jump into why exactly some of these changes are way bigger than you might think. So starting from, I guess, the top ones are the most important ones in my opinion, but Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, these are basically 2 out of 3 of our single target rotation. Now, if you remember back when 10.2 was first announced, they're buffing Rising Sun Kick already, which is like our main single target damaging button, but now our other 2 ones are buffed. Now, Tiger Palm is a 50% buff because this button is just there for like its passive abilities, the things that it adds, which is a stack to your Blackout Kick. But your Blackout Kick is surprisingly already doing pretty good damage. And the reason being is because you can make your Blackout Kicks cleave. In fact, in Mythic Plus, you do make your Blackout Kicks and you also make your Tiger Palms hit twice. So these damage numbers might not seem like a lot. Tiger Palm getting buffed by a half of itself, basically, is pretty good because if you Tiger Palm on your Faeline, it's hitting twice. So now, instead of doing 200% of a Tiger Palm's damage per each press, you're getting, what is that, 300%. So all in all, a pretty big buff, a pretty major buff to Tiger Palm. It's going to make it feel impactful. It's going to make it, you're going to see it actually do healing with Ancient Teachings. Blackout Kick, though, however, I mean, this is insane. This button already cleaves so hard. You cleave on 3 enemies and 3 target cleave. I mean, it does good damage. It's not like insane, but it was to a point in current WoW, like 10.1.7, where Blackout Kick was kind of feeling like the better button than Rising Sun Kick in Mythic Plus. Now, in Raid, Rising Sun Kick's passives are just too strong, like Rising Mist, for example. But Blackout Kick was just, you could see it move health bars, especially with Chi-Ji out. And then on top of that, Spinning Crane Kick is getting a minor buff. This already does pretty good damage. So if we go in here to these target dummies, it might get a little loud in here because people are testing. But Spinning Crane Kick does good damage. But I've already kind of hinted at what makes these changes super impactful. These first three damage changes. And it's that all 3 of these spells, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Spinning Crane Kick, are tied to our healing, especially in Mythic Plus. And also you can take this build, like not this build, but a Chi-Ji Ancient Teachings build and Faeline build into a raid environment and perform probably at like somewhere around 85%, you know, of the normal Yu'lon ramp performance. But in Mythic Plus, this is our build. We run Ancient Teachings, which makes our Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick heal. So now all of a sudden, this is just another buff, another straight buff in the long line of buffs coming to our Mythic Plus playstyle. Spinning Crane Kick does healing with Awakened Faeline. You stand on your Faeline, you Spinning Crane Kick spam, you do big AoE damage as a healer, and that converts to big AoE healing. So all of a sudden, it's not just their damage our damage that they're buffing our healing. And these aren't gonna push the Chi-Ji Ancient Teachings build above the Yu'lon build in Raid. Although that gap is slowly but surely closing, these are not the changes that are gonna do that. However, with every little change, like I said, that gap is going to close. And even if the Chi-Ji build doesn't quite reach the Yu'lon build, the closer that gap gets, the more viable this playstyle becomes alongside this playstyle. So then all of a sudden you get into an opportunity where you can swap between the builds and play a certain build on a certain fight and do well, or you can pick preference. If this build is performing 100% and this one's 95%, all of a sudden that 5% starts to be like, well, I'll take it. I'll leave it at the door in order to just have more fun if I enjoy the 95% playstyle. So every little change like this matters. But then they're also buffing the Faeline Stomp healing and damage. Now, the healing isn't that important, especially in Mythic Plus, but in Raid, the healing will matter. I mean, like I said, every little bit of healing and damage matters. What that means is this Faeline that we shoot out, that number that you see it actually hit people for, it's going to do more damage, do more healing. That number will start to matter in a Mythic Plus environment. Let's go ahead and get that reset. Watch the damage numbers above the training dummies. I mean, 15,000 on a non-crit, so like 30-something thousand on crits. That number will add up. It hits 5 targets, so that number is going to start to add up. You're going to start seeing Faeline Stomp on your damage meters in Mythic Plus, and then you might, if you do start taking the Chi-Ji build, if we do start playing the Chi-Ji Ancient Teachings build and playing Faeline alongside it, that healing could add up, and it could actually matter because I'll get to it in just a second, but they're actually changing Essence Font as well. So the biggest change on this list, however, is this change right here. Ancient Teachings of the Monastery may stack up to 4 times, and that was 3 times. What does this mean? Well, first off, whoever wrote these patch notes, they said Ancient Teachings of the Monastery, but what they really mean is Teachings of the Monastery, and this is what causes our Tiger Palms to stack up and make our next Blackout kick hit 1 additional time. So if I Tiger Palmed on current WoW, like live WoW right now, and I Tiger Palmed 3 times, or got 3 Tiger Palm hits, then my next Blackout kick would hit 4 times. And if you remember, if I'm on my Faeline, that will cleave onto 3 targets. So if nowadays, if I Tiger Palm and it hits 4 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, then my next Blackout kick will hit 5 times. The 1 time that I press it, and then the 4 additional stacks will hit on top of that. So we're gaining a lot of power over the top. And I mean, like, oh my god, that is so satisfying. Just look at all these yellow numbers. I'm going to Blackout kick. I mean, like, come on. Why are people not maining this class right now? Why do I have to beg you guys to swap to Mistweaver? Look at that. Look at how many hits you get from 1 button. It's just insane. But why is this insane? Well, I've actually kind of drawn up a little chart. I know some of you guys love my super. Some of you have said that these are too advanced. Like my infographics are on too advanced of a software that your eyes can't even perceive it. But just try to bear with me here. We have a professional software here. So this is how Blackout kick on current WoW, like 10.1.7, would work. Say that you have a Chi-Ji out and you're on your Faeline Stomp and everyone has an Essence Font. So we press 1 Blackout kick and we have 3 targets to hit. So we're on a 3 cleave scenario. Then all of a sudden 1 Blackout kick press is 3 targets. But let's say that we have full Teachings of the Monastery stacks. We have all 3 stacks on current WoW. So it's going to hit the initial time on all 3 targets, but then it's going to hit them 3 additional times, 1 per each stack. So we're going to get a total of 12 Blackout kicks. If we're fully stacked Teachings of the Monastery, have 3 targets to cleave, and we're on our Faeline, 12 Blackout kicks per 1 button press. But if we have Chi-Ji out, we're also going to get 2 Mastery procs per each Blackout kick. So each kick will kick up 2 Mastery procs. And then if those Mastery procs hit someone with the Essence Font hot on them, Essence Font has a thing where it doubles your Mastery proc. So then all of a sudden, all 12 of those Blackout kick hits will kick up 2 Mastery procs, making 24 Mastery procs that will heal your allies for 48 Mastery procs. That's what we've been working with. That's kind of what makes our Chi-Ji window so bursty. We can stack up our Teachings of the Monastery, then press Chi-Ji, and then do 1 big Blackout kick and heal everyone up with all those Mastery procs. But what about on this version of WoW 10.2 nowadays? Now that we can get up to 4 stacks, our Blackout kick will hit 5 times per the 3 target cleave, and then that'll equate to 15 Blackout kicks. 15 Blackout kicks when we press that button if we're at 4 or full stacks. That still gives 2 Mastery procs if we have Chi-Ji out per kick. Those will still double with Essence Font on each of those targets, and then that'll equal 60 Mastery procs. So we're coming from 48 Mastery procs right once we spawn in Chi-Ji to 60. I mean, like, that's a 25% boost. I mean, that's just so much more healing in an instant right once we summon Chi-Ji. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like on the PTR. So we stack up our Teachings of the Monastery by Tiger Palming twice, or it hits 4 times, but we're pressing it twice, and then we summon Chi-Ji, and then we Blackout Kick. So many Mastery procs. I mean, 1, 2, and then Mastery procs. Just like, it's insane. 60 Mastery... Well, I didn't have Essence Font on these allies, so you guys only saw 30 of them, but 60 Mastery proc heals in an instant. So these are typical play patterns that you guys are probably so used to pressing right now, especially this one. So we're so used to pressing, alternating between Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick. So Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. I'm sure you guys are used to that. But if we kind of splice out 6 global cooldowns and say that we alternated between those 2 spells 3 times each, so 3 presses of Tiger Palm, 3 presses of Blackout Kick, one after the other. If we did that, we would have 6 total Tiger Palms, because each of those 3 are striking twice, and we would have 27 Blackout Kicks, because we're assuming we're on our Faeline and we have 3 targets to cleave off of. So each of those Blackout Kicks would come in with 2 Teachings of the Monastery stacks and would hit 3 targets, so we would get 27 total Blackout Kicks. And then if we did Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, remember in current WoW, we are capped at 3 Teachings of the Monastery stacks. So if we Tiger Palm this first time, we're on our Faeline, it's going to hit twice, give us 2 stacks. But then this next Tiger Palm will hit twice, but only give us 1 stack. So we lose a lot of efficiency pressing the second Tiger Palm. So then when we press our Blackout Kick, we just don't get very good efficiency from these 6 buttons. I kind of did 6 because I think it's the greatest common multiple or whatever that's called. But Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. If we do these 6 buttons in this order, we would only get 8 total Tiger Palms because we pressed Tiger Palm 4 times, but we would only get 24 Blackout Kicks because we're just losing efficiency on the second Blackout Kick because we were capped at 3 stacks, and we get 2 stacks per each press. So we were just losing efficiency. That's one of the reasons why this was the normal play pattern that we're used to in today's WoW 10.1.7. But now let's jump into this current patch with these patch notes that just dropped for 10.2 and talk about what that's going to look like. Well, you guys can already go ahead and see it. This old playstyle, this alternating Tiger Palm Blackout Kick on your Faeline would be the same. It would come out to the same number of Tiger Palms, the same number of Blackout Kicks, but if we do 2 Tiger Palms before our Blackout Kick and then do it again, then we're going to get the same 8 Tiger Palms. Those will always hit twice. But that second hit on each Tiger Palm will actually count toward Teachings of the Monastery and lead to more efficient play patterns. This change is so good, if not for power. Even if you take a step back from the power of this and just look at the play style, the play pattern, this just makes sense. If you're going to make our Tiger Palms hit twice on our Faeline, make it an even number of stacks. I mean, it should have been done so long ago, but you see here, these changes are so powerful, so meaningful, that they're going to have an implication on our actual rotation. So I am such a fan of this change, and it already, in my testing, feels so smooth. Now, if I Faeline Stomp and then Tiger Palm twice, and then Blackout Kick, it feels like I'm not wasting a global cooldown. I'm not pressing a second Tiger Palm that feels inefficient and not worth pressing, because it just stacks up and it adds up, and it will add a lot more damage and efficiency and optimization in the long run. And I am such a fan, not to mention how it works with Chi-Ji. But speaking of Chi-Ji, we have to talk about Essence Font when we talk about Chi-Ji. They are changing Essence Font. So Essence Font, you channel, you shoot out a bunch of bolts, and then leave a hot on up to 6 targets. Now it is 5 targets. So they are capping it at 5 targets. However, we've seen healer spells do this in the past, where it used to be capped at 6 targets. Now they're capped at 5, and then they buff them. And those are almost always incredible changes. Because one, these spells, I mean, Essence Font, we're still probably not going to press in Mythic Plus. Like, I highly doubt we even press this button with Faeline existing. But these spells, these AoE heals, there's no point, actually 0 point in them hitting 6 targets in a Mythic Plus environment. However, they're trying to really make it worth pressing in Mythic Plus and worth pressing in Raid by still giving it power, but trying to, cater it to the Mythic Plus world. But I really think that their goal here was to change it in a way to make it more powerful and enticing and offer more throughput in a Raid world, while also adding, all of those attributes to the Mythic Plus world. But how does this actually affect the numbers, the throughput that this one button is going to have? Well, I've done that math, and what I did first was I took 5/6, so just multiplying it by the number of targets that it has now over the number that it used to have. So it was a 1/6 nerf, if you want to think of it like that. So it was doing 1/6 less healing because it's hitting one less target, but they also buffed it by 40%. So I multiplied that number that I got by 1.4. So all in all, it is about a 16.6 repeating percent buff. So in the total throughput of pressing Essence Font in a raid, you're going to do 16% on average more healing. So all in all, I mean, this is a good change. I still don't think that this change alone, like in a vacuum, is good enough to make Essence Font worth pressing. However, Essence Font isn't just Essence Font. You don't just, in a like say in your Yulon build, you wouldn't just talent into Essence Font and just start pressing it in its rotation in your Yulon build if it just did more healing. That's not a thing. Essence Font is a whole play style. I mean, it really is. You don't just take Essence Font for its face value. You take everything that it does. So if we come here into WoW, one of the biggest parts of Essence Font is that last little line of text. Gust of Mist, or your Mastery procs, will heal affected targets twice. So you generally don't just start pressing Essence Font because it's hot heals a lot, or it's the bolts heal a lot. You press it because you can build a complete talent build that synergizes around it. So you take a whole playstyle similar to our Mythic Plus one, where we try to shoot Essence Font or Faeline Stomp through allies to apply Essence Font hots. You take Essence Font, you actually press it on cooldown. You take things like Upwelling so it can heal more and hit more people, and that hot will last longer. And then you take Chi-Ji that kicks up those Mastery procs so that those will heal more people. So in general, buffing Essence Font is not alone gonna make Essence Font worth taking as a build in total in Raid. But you know what will, or what might, is buffing everything in that build. So all in all, these changes, although still, I don't think it surpasses, or it makes the Chi-Ji build surpass the Yulon build in Raid. I do think that gap is closing day by day. I think they're doing a great job with these changes. I do worry if they're looking too much into closing that gap in Raid, that they're forgetting about our Mythic Plus. I think we're going to be really strong in Mythic Plus. I don't think we're going to do better numbers than every other healer in terms of damage. All of the spot heal buffs and all the tankiness or resiliency buffs that we've received on top of these buffs to our current Mythic Plus playstyle, it could help, and it could push us to the top of the leaderboard or top of the meta in terms of healers. I don't know. I don't think there are enough top healers or people that play healers that are gonna swap to Mistweaver or have a Mistweaver alt. I really don't. But I mean, we're getting to a point where I'm kind of afraid of getting nerfed. I hope that they kind of continue to move in this direction of closing that raid gap in the two playstyles that Mistweaver can have, while also still paying attention to not pushing our Mythic Plus playstyle over the edge. So that is my worry. However, I will say these buffs, thinking from a pure Raider standpoint, are amazing because it just gives you more like viability and choice, and gives you more of a choice in which playstyle you want to play. Because now all of a sudden, if you show up to Mythic Raid Night on like week 4 of a tier, you won't get memed out of the raid because you brought your Ancient Teachings Chi-Ji build instead of your Yulon ramp build. They might actually accept it, or they might bench you for some fights, but bring you in when you shine, when there's 3 targets to actually cleave off of. And then for those of us who play Mistweaver and Mythic Plus, I mean, just getting bonus damage all around, bonus AoE damage, other bonus AoE damage, bonus single target damage, it steps in the right direction. I am super excited to play Mistweaver in 10.2, and I hope that you guys are as well. Also, I feel like I didn't even spend enough time on this change. This is the change to highlight of this whole thing. But guys, what do you think of these changes? What do you think of these buffs? Are they as massive as I'm making them out to be? Because I really do feel like these are probably some of the best changes that we have gotten since 10.2 has even started its announcements. So let me know what you guys think about these down below in the comments. But while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that you're subscribed, because there's a lot of 10.2 content coming your way. A lot of healer content, not just Mistweaver, but specifically Mistweaver. Let's be real here. But guys, thank you so much. Special shout out to my Patreons. If you want to see your name on the screen with these guys, then make sure and check out that link down in the description below. But these guys are absolutely hard carrying this channel, carrying me into my dreams. I mean, thank you so much if your name is on the screen. If you want to join these guys on the screen, check out that link in the description below. But once again, there are so many other ways that you can support this channel. Just click all those sellout buttons. Guys, I appreciate you for clicking on my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.